Well, welcome to day one of our series, and we're going to be talking about this week faith versus fear. You know, understanding fear. What is it? Where does it come from? And why it doesn't have to control our lives. You see, fear is not your enemy. At its core, fear is a survival instinct, and it's wired into us to protect us. You see, our brains is simply constantly scanning and asking one question. And that one question is this: am I safe? And the system that's designed to protect our lives is also holding us back from our potential. You know, in the past, it would have been things like wild animals, unsafe environments. And the brain reacts to that by saying, am I safe? No. And the result is life saved. In our modern world, it's a bit different because what's threats are around are opinions, failure, rejection. Our brain reaction says, "Am I safe?" and we say no, and the result is that we limit our lives. So, distinguishing healthy instincts from limiting mindsets. This chart really shows a lot of that. It says that the primary role of healthy fear is protection. But when it's in a limiting fear, it's restriction. And the same is true with typical triggers. So if we cross the street and it was a really busy street, we would really feel physical danger. But the limiting fear was trying something new, speaking up. And the internal voice that's in within us with healthy fear would say, watch out. But that limiting fear says, don't try it, you might fail. And the ultimate result is this: healthy fear keeps us safe, but limiting fear shrinks our lives. So, how does modern fear operate mechanically in our daily lives? Well, these fears do not just live in our thoughts; they dictate our decisions. So let's take failure for example. The trigger is the new opportunity. But the narrative to it is, what if I try and it doesn't work? And what comes from that is an action. And that action is that we don't try at all. And if we take the subject of rejection, then the social trigger is the social vulnerability is the trigger. So what if they don't accept me is the narrative. And then what usually comes out of that is we stay silent or hidden. And finally, let's have a look at uncertainty. The trigger is loss of predictability. And the narrative that comes out of that is, what if things don't go as planned? And usually what comes out of that is we cling to control to or avoid starting in the first place. So, what is the subtle whispers that build a smaller life? Well, fear shapes the opportunities that we take and relationship that you pursue and the dreams that you chase. It rarely screams. Instead, it whispers. It whispers these things that stop you. You know, it's like, I want to stay where I'm comfortable, or I'm not really ready for this yet, or let's maybe do this bit later. So, just because fear speaks doesn't mean it gets to decide in our lives. And it says a spiritual foundation for breaking this fear of authority is God's word. So in 2 Timothy 1:7, it says this: if God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. So, displacing fear with the 3 pillars of faith. Having faith doesn't mean fear disappears completely. It means fear loses its authority. You are given the exact tools needed to replace it. So let's take some examples from that. So the power replaces the helplessness. The love replaces insecurity. And the sound mind replaces chaos. Can you see how those things working together, and then they have the opportunity to conquer the spirit of fear? So when we start to reframe our minds, fear from a stop sign to a signal sign, and that's what we were doing in the previous example, is that we're stepping into growth. We're leaving comfort. So we're not doing something, and we're doing something, meaningful. And those things matter most because of this. Instead of asking, why am I scared? Try asking, what does this fear mean to me stepping forward in meaning, in my impact, or on my purpose? So identifying those quiet fears influencing your decisions. Let's just slow down for a moment. What fear has been quietly keeping you from starting, speaking, or stepping forward? And just notice no judgment. Awareness is the first step towards change. So, as we come to the end of our first day, choosing faith over fear, one step at a time. So, fear is human, but it's never meant to control our lives. So, tomorrow we're going to explore day 2. What is faith? So, until then, choose faith over fear, even if it's just one small step.